Eli is a
downloaded the
complete
remastered.
idiot and knows nothing.
He's just a complete dumbass dunce that
He's
doesn't
just a
understand how the
doofus.
mushroom zombie apocalypse really works.
He wouldn't understand, dude.
Skipping through the end times.
All right. Hey everyone. Hey Dave. Are we back? Are we doing this again and again?
Yeah, we're back again, just like last week. And I'm super stoked, dude, because I'm caught up on Last of Us.
Heck yeah. Well, we have a lot to catch up on Last of Us. I know last week you caught up on episode 2, and then this week you caught up on episode 3. I think we're all before we get in here, let's say hi to producer Vince, who's coming at us with a brand new video and audio package over there. He's sounding crisp.
I'm all set up now, boys.
Yeah, he told me to only call him the audio package now. So I don't know. Every week it feels like he gives himself a new gloss, which everybody knows.
Video package.
So Vince, are you caught up on Last of Us as well?
I'm all caught up. I'm freaking stoked. I hate having to wait a week for a new episode, but I kind of like it because it gives me something to look
that's
forward
the ideal.
Well,
that's the ideal.
about it too is you can sit around the water cooler like the old days and talk to people like as the episodes come, which is kind of nice instead of like one guy binges everything and you're like, oh really, Steve? So I can't talk to you now about it for like.
I'm usually Steve though.
But there's always
like I have no sleep. I'm like, oh, it was great.
There's always a Steve, and then there's a dick of the group that's like binge watched everything the night before.
Well, I'm sorry, Steve has no job, but the rest of us only got through 2 episodes last night.
He's like, well, just wait till the end. The finale is amazing. It's like that information alone makes me want to kill you, Steve. I didn't need to know that. I was, it could have been lackluster. That's a spoiler in and of itself. All right, well, first let's catch up to episode 3 by recapping your thoughts on episode 2. That was really the episode that, the first episode was good. It didn't totally grab me. But episode 2 I really enjoyed, and I'd love to know your thoughts again.
Yeah, I thought it was... I agree. I think it grabbed me a little more too, if I could use that term.
Yeah, you can. Doesn't mean it's not funny.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I was thinking the whole time, like in certain like places, like the production design and like the cinematography for some of those sets, like the way the light was coming down through like the roof in them and everything, like when they were wading through the water and all that. It was so awesome, and it was like exactly what the game was, which is like I thought it was crazy, like and the fact that like I don't know, the attention to detail to make it that much of the game, like the game was like just so cool. And like like that water scene when they're wading through, like and the creepy like body comes out of it and everything, like they were only in that for like a minute and a half, and I'm like, how do you spend that much money making a set look that amazing for like 2 minutes? But yeah, it was so cool. Like there were multiple points like that when they're outside too, and like the buildings toppled over, like there's moss growing on it, like yeah, it was just so awesome. Looked exactly like the game. Like I feel like we've come so far in CG where it's like 5 years ago I'd be like, there's no way they could make a series or a film out of this and like it would look as good as the game. But like yeah, they made it look great. And that fed into the 3rd episode too, where like even when they're like in that stash area with like where Ellie kind of goes down and has a creepy moment with the clicker that's like trapped under the rubble.
Yeah.
Like that whole area looks exactly like the game. And I know it's just like some like retail space, but like I don't know, just everything about it just made me feel like I was playing the game again, which is pretty cool. The thing in the second episode that I wasn't prepared for was the fungus kiss at the end, when it's like this creepy moment where like you think this runner's about to like just wreck her, but instead it just really goes for it. I don't know. I guess it senses that she has like
infected,
subdued or something, and and just like shares this super creepy moment before getting destroyed. But yeah, that was a little bit awesome.
Yeah, that was that episode, like the suspense and everything that they played with in using like the scene in the museum, I thought was awesome. Anytime you're in an abandoned setting like that, it always captures my imagination because it's so, you're so used to seeing those things just in your everyday life, and to see them overgrown or flooded out. And
especially Boston, like early America, was,
yeah,
like, kind of cool too.
But for me, it's like anytime you flood out a building that, at one point was in a thriving civilization, it's always like creepy and it always works. But yeah, I
I know
thought
I like
episode
to
2 was
flood
really
out
good.
buildings just for fun,
Yeah.
just like for a nice aesthetic.
Anytime you can do it, for Christmas photos or, torrential downpours that just randomly happen. Uh, yeah, but I really enjoyed that episode. And then, okay, so we're on to episode 3. This one I've heard a ton of people just glowing about this episode, loving this episode. So going back to what you were saying about Ellie when she goes and digs the knife into the mushroom zombies.
In the
What is that?
mushroom apocalypse,
The mushroom apocalypse,
as they called it.
mushroom zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
What's that kind of signaling? Because it was something that they spent so much time on it that it obviously indicated that it was contributing something to the overall story or her story. But what is that? Is that like a scene? Was that exact scene from the video game?
I think it was like maybe not the same way. Like I was trying to remember back because it's been so long, but like I do remember that a point like that where it's like this like weird. It's like this cool intimate moment because it's just like Ellie by herself and Joel has no idea where she is. And it's like she has this perfect moment like after their conversation earlier that was like, oh, like I've like Joel's like, oh, I've killed a bunch of them, and like she obviously hasn't. And it's just this perfect moment of this thing like trapped in the rubble. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think of it like it's like the kid with the magnifying glass that's like just like can do whatever it wants, like messing with this thing and like almost like this dark or like primal energy she has.
Yeah.
Like going back to just like being able to be like the complete master over this thing that would normally like rip her to pieces and just like messing with it. Like I think there's definitely points like that in the game where it, like showcases Ellie and her character where like, she's like any kid growing up in the setting has got to be like pretty messed up. I mean, like
Right.
she's been in the QZ her entire life. She doesn't know anything else. Like she knows nothing but war and chaos pretty much. So
Yeah.
she's got a couple issues to deal with.
Yeah, no, it was a really compelling scene. And it indicated a lot more. But all right, so what did you think overall of episode 3? Like I said, there's been a lot of buzz around this episode. A lot of people are giving it a lot of high praise. What did you guys think of just the overall episode 3?
It was definitely unexpected. When I sort of had an idea of what it would be because I like happened to read the like log line before I like press play. Which I was a little bit bummed out, but like
So that's your first mistake.
they loaded it with spoilers.
Damn it.
Not really, but like I kind of saw what they were going for with the story, and like yeah, I mean it was pretty crazy. Like I wasn't expecting it, like especially being like an hour and a half long. Yeah, I mean it's so different than the game. You meet Bill pretty early on in the game, and like a lot of it is the same. Like he's kind of this prepper kind of guy, like, and he's kind of like was the perfect guy that would prosper in like an apocalypse. Like he built this empire because of he was able to have all these like survival skills and everything. But yeah, obviously like almost the entire story was completely different. Like there was no Frank character. So that's definitely like that whole thing is unexpected. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Like, I was kind of wondering if it was a bit long. Like I was kind of wondering like, okay, if it wasn't quite so long, would it have still had the same like emotional impact? And I'm not totally sure if it would or not, but yeah, I was definitely not expecting for it to go so far, like handle such a long period of time, like almost those full 20 years pretty much. What thoughts did you guys have?
Yeah, for me, I thought it was I thought the performances and the character wise, it was really compelling and interesting, and it was cool to pull back from this. Everything we've seen up until this point is like this desolate wasteland. So it was cool to pull back and almost come into our world where it's like we're reminded of our everyday lives before this thing hit, before the mushroom zombie apocalypse, and so from that aspect, it was cool. I couldn't help feel like it deviated away from the story of Joel and Ellie a little bit too early on. I would have really liked to see something where there was more of an A and B story between the two. I think to your point, you could have cut down on some of that screen time for that story. And again, I understand what they were doing with that. They were really trying to make the audience live with these two people for 20 years and how, they were affected by all of this. and then later how that ties into Joel and Ellie. But I thought ultimately it was a weird path to take so soon on in the series, and it really just kind of took. It reminded me a little bit of the Book of Boba Fett, where it's like it's Boba Fett's story, 5 episodes, and then 6 episode you're into like the Mandalorian season 2.5. So obviously it's a
Yeah.
little bit different, and I know TV shows do that a lot, where they will kind of transition with episodes that aren't necessarily, continuations of the previous episodes, and I like that in a certain sense. But I just felt like so early on in the story, and especially for me because I'm so unfamiliar with the overall story, I just felt like it was a very it took me out of it a little bit, but
And
performance
character
wise, and
wise, yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
it was really good.
Yeah, yeah. And it is weird because like character wise, like, Joel is really the protagonist. And it's, they tried to tie it into Joel like a little bit, where like but really it's part of Bill's arc where he's like, he goes from like this this dude that's like super self-sustaining, doesn't trust anybody, to like, being able to be like cooperative. But really like it's using Joel for that. Like Joel doesn't really go through too much of a transformation. So, he plot wise he ends up getting what he wants. But even for Ellie too, it's like she doesn't really participate in the episode like too much.
Yeah,
She doesn't even get the chance to meet Bill or anything. So I mean that was kind of interesting too. Like it was a beautiful story. Like I thought like Nick Offerman did an awesome job. And like I was saying before, I don't think like it's hard to picture that role given to like anybody else. Like as
yeah,
I think like he was just so perfect for that. Like almost like it's like it's like a Parks and Rec sequel.
yeah.
But he was really funny. Like I especially love the stuff in the beginning where
Yeah,
he's
I think
like,
it
"You
played.
New World Order, Jack beating thugs," or whatever he says. And then it's
Yeah,
like that whole like montage and then the way it goes from that into what it did was pretty great.
I do think it's very it works really well in the Parks and Rec universe, and the continuation of the Ron Swanson story. It makes it even, funnier. But yeah, I mean, perfect casting for that. And I like that they played against stereotype. I like that you didn't know where the story was going until they presented it, and I thought that was really cool. And I thought the characters were really well rounded, and what they brought to each other and pulled out of each other. Um, I think was the point of the story. It's to remind the viewer of the humanity of the story, and in that regard, I think it was cool. I just kind of wish it was done in a different way that didn't exclude Ellie and Joel's story so much. I would have really liked to see kind of the journey and their bond continue, especially
And
because
to
you said
do
it
it
was an hour
in
and a half. I mean, that's a movie.
Yeah, and to do it in episode 3,
Yeah.
is pretty soon to pull off something like that. But yeah, but I think my last thought on it was like, the end. I just really loved the end shot too, where it's like this wide shot through the window where they are, and when he's like, "Don't worry, I left the window open so it wouldn't smell."
Smell, yeah,
And we kind of see them like riding off in the truck.
for sure. What did you think about it, Vinny?
Dude, to add in, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I agree that with the story that's been going, it kind of like put that off to a side. I think we were talking earlier about it. I feel like this would have been a fantastic like bonus feature to go along with the show. I don't know if that would be like after the series is over or like just a standalone thing, because I feel like showing the background of the small character in the game and the small, obviously super small character in the series, I feel like it gave a lot of background to kind of the universe of what they're trying to establish in this TV show and The Last of Us and the Mushroom Apocalypse that you guys have trademarked.
TM.
And we're just running with now. T-shirts are coming.
And I do see now just to say one thing, like I do see now kind of what they're going for, whereas like the game was a lot more about the spores and stuff in the air, and like they're kind of doubling down in the show with the fungus, the fungi, and like the roots in the ground and stuff. Like it was pretty cool, like at the end of the episode too, where it's like he shoots the one guy and then it's like, I don't know, the roots are connected underground and kind of like wakes up this
2.
other
I love
horde. That kind of gives it something.
Yeah, I love the fact that you have played the game and your retention for the game is way better than mine. You've beat you've played both games. I'm in the midst of the second game, and then Eli's never touched any of it. So I feel like we have.
That's not true. I downloaded after last week's show.
Did you?
Eli is a
downloaded the
complete
remastered.
idiot and knows nothing.
He's just a complete dumbass dunce that
He's
doesn't
just a
understand how the
doofus.
mushroom zombie apocalypse really works.
He wouldn't understand, dude.
But yeah, the mushroom zombie apocalypse. I think if they gave me the complete control over that show, that's what I would have pitched. I would have been like, "This is what we're calling it." Yeah, but Last of Us is a famous IP. I understand that, but now it's called something different.
But is it funny? Cause
Can you sell shirts off of it? You can. You have. Okay. Well, what about these? Not these shirts.
not ones that have funny mushrooms cartoons on them.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably the most compelling thing to me about this story is the mushroom, like the cordyceps mushrooms becoming the thing that turns people into zombies. And I loved his explanation too, just kind of going back where he was, she was like, well, all we learned about is a dumb government that couldn't stop a pandemic. And he's like,
Yeah.
well, this is how, like, this is really, is like a foodborne thing. And it was the evolution of these mushrooms. And that's like really interesting. And I've never seen anything like that. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
enjoying
because
about
they
it.
kind of explain it too, which is like something that Walking Dead would never do is
Right.
explain something.
Right.
I thought I saw this meme too that was funny. Like this meme's going around. It's like Jared Leto is 51 and Nick Offerman is 52. They're only a year apart. How is this possible? And it's like a picture of the two of them, and like Nick Offerman's got his big like gray beard and
Yeah.
everything.
He
And the guy
is-
responding is like, "I'm no fan of Jared Leto, but this is a pointlessly cruel comparison. How's he supposed to live up to Nick Offerman?"
That's so good.
What a great twist.
Dude, Nick
Yes.
Offerman really is the perfect character for this, or perfect actor for this character, man. And I love that you didn't. What's up?
I was just gonna say that is true, and
Yeah.
credit where credit's due. The guy who played Frank did a really good job, but they
Yeah.
butchered the wigs in those scenes. Some of those scenes. I just
Get
want
off
not
your
Dude, I
every
wigs,
scene.
knew you were
dude.
gonna
Not-
say it.
not
dude.
every
I knew
scene.
you were gonna say it.
Not every scene. I don't know why you don't have Nick Offerman just grow his beard out. I don't understand that for the life of me. Daniel Day-Lewis can go freaking as Abraham Lincoln to a cafe and
Like as a
order
maniac,
coffee in a. Yeah, and I'm saying split the difference. I just don't understand.
They
Like,
also had him like do a lot with his hair too, where he's like he pushes his hair back.
I
He's
know.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
You
just
can see it separate from his skull a little bit.
like
They're
take.
like, it's
we-
fine. Dude, that
comparison.
one set was like
I know.
was like $1 billion.
So here's
we have
here's
the
what I'm
sets,
saying.
dude. Get,
cheap
who cares
cheap
about the
out
wigs?
on a couple of the sets. Say, you know what,
No.
this set can look a little shitty. We need to put some more into Offerman's wig. Like that. Let's put a cool 100,000. It like we'll get like it laser scoped. Like we'll really do this thing.
We'll put
Like
some
if they can
plugs.
make.
It's gonna be permanent. He can never get it off, but it's gonna look good.
If
But
they
he'll
just
always
hire
be
the
reminded.
Moss person to do his wigs, it would be stellar, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Use Unreal Engine on his head, dude.
Unreal
Danny,
That's
5.
what I'm
where's
saying.
Danny? Where's the Moss guy?
Yeah.
Get him over here.
We
Come
need
on.
the Moss guy.
Look, you got to tell the Moss guy when it's time to go. It's time to go. Okay. The Moss guy's just having a cigarette. Like, oh shoot, Danny, get in here.
He's like, I thought
You're
my job
needed.
was over.
What are you talking about? His wig looks immaculate. Danny.
What I wanted to add about this episode, I don't know if you guys felt the same. Dave, I think you mentioned earlier talking about how like the scene of Offerman pretty much getting the town to himself, and then the way that they kind of like put it together with him going to the store and getting fuel and all that stuff. It was
Yeah.
so good. And then once he found that guy Frank in the trap, for like the next 15 minutes of the show and like the piano and stuff, I was so tense because I was waiting for Offerman or the other guy to attack. I don't know if you guys felt that too, but like in the whole piano scene where the guy is playing and then Offerman's like, no, not that song. And then he goes on to do it. I was waiting for like him to get strangled and Offerman to like
No,
fucking
dude.
murder this guy. dude.
Somehow I knew like what it was gonna be. I'm not sure how exactly I knew that.
I think
But
it was
I-
that scene. I think that scene for me was
Yeah.
like it was different, and that's
see
what I was
what you
saying
mean, though.
before.
Because I was watching it with my wife and she said the same thing. She was like, I would never let him in the house. There's no way.
Yeah. So I was just waiting for all hell to break loose, and then instead they just went at it, dude.
All hell did break loose
Also,
in a different way.
I hope someday in my life I'm as excited for something as much as like Offerman was excited for that strawberry.
Dude,
That
yeah.
scene, dude, where he like orgasmed from the taste of a strawberry. I was waiting for them to just put Offerman's face in the dirt and
I like the shot of him collecting rainwater in
yeah.
the barrel.
It was so well done, dude. They did such a good job.
Yeah.
Minus the
It's
wigs.
illegal.
So next week's episode is titled "Please Hold On to My Hand." I'm not going to read the log line because, as Dave has shown us, that's
Please don't.
kind of a spoiler. So, episode 4 is coming up. I'm looking to see, especially 10 episodes. Please, I'm in the bag for this thing, and I'll keep going on it, man.
Can I just say too, one I'll get on my soapbox for a second. Why do we still do next week on freaking crap
Give
at
all
the end of
it
it?
away.
At the end of the episode, dude.
Yeah.
Like seriously?
Yeah.
dude, I won't watch it, dude. I'm like, no, I want to experience the episode. It's like,
Yeah, I feel like that
Am I
was
alone?
something they did before the internet, and then it's kind of stuck around.
dude,
But
yeah,
like,
it's such
I
like
think
a
that's what it
90s,
is.
Yeah.
such a 90s thing to be like, tune in next week to see what happens. This crazy thing happened, but you'll forget by then, so you'll be surprised.
and then
But
instead
then
we're
we'll
just on
operate
our
like that,
phones
dude.
all day long, seeing the same fucking clip over
Well,
and
well,
over.
why when you go to a movie theater do you have to sit through literally sometimes
the
half an
worst.
hour of previews when you're paying a premium to go watch a movie? Like everybody consumes their trailers on their phones, on the toilet, or when they're trying to zone out while they're eating lunch in their car and they're booting Western bacon cheeseburgers. Like I don't
That's just
understand why.
you.
I know. Are you
Well,
sponsored, dude?
market research, market research, dude. What can I say? I have to speak on what I know about. But
I'm a
everybody
common
does.
man.
Everybody watches movie trailers on their phone, and they usually get it in a banner ad from some other,
That's
social
true,
media
dude.
or streaming. So why do we have to sit through 30 minutes of previews? It's such a bummer. If I could go to a movie that started at 8 o'clock and know that I was going to get out by 10, I would go to way more movies. But now I'm like, no, it's not going to be 10. I'll sit there for 5 minutes
You're
while
gonna
Maria.
sit there. You're gonna pay a premium for your popcorn. You're gonna watch a bunch of ads.
Yeah.
Because why get one monies from you when they can get two monies
Well,
and give you ads too?
how about this? I won't go to their theater to watch a movie. I'll wait till it comes out, pay $20. I don't have to sit through any, and I can pause it when I want, and I can go to bed when I want, and I can go to the bathroom when I want, and I don't have to worry about their Kia commercials for 25 minutes with Brie Larson. Like, just let me live and watch a movie. That's my rant. Thank you guys. I'll see.
You
I'll
can't
see you
live
later.
and
All right,
watch
have a
a movie. You
have
gotta
a good night, dude. Living is watching movies. Oh,
Oh, that's a good quote, dude.
thanks, man. I'm making T-shirts tonight, dude.
Wow, you're gonna make that one, and you're gonna make the new Mushroom Apocalypse
Zombie
one,
Apocalypse,
and
yeah.
they're gonna be really good.
All right, so
See-
Dave, what is your grade on the series so far?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot.
put
I
you
don't.
on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of negative on it originally.
Have you turned that corner? Are you with us now?
Man, yeah. I mean, I want to watch it. I'm still not totally with the Ellie casting. I hate to be that guy and like be hung up on one thing, but
It's a big
I
thing.
guess I'll give it a. She just hasn't grown on me yet, and maybe that'll happen. I'll give it. I think I have it at a solid B right now.
Nice.
I don't want to disrespect it by giving it a B minus because I know you hate when you put that
No, I've
minus on
adopted
it.
that. I think everyone since you've said that, I've been throwing a minus on it, even in personal text with Eli.
We'll see,
that text
and I
is a
think
C+.
like it's all going pretty fast too. Like they're going through the game pretty fast, and I think like I saw something. I don't know if this is true. If like the whole first game is the first season, which
I was hoping that's where they're going to go.
I guess is a good call, like emotionally and everything. But that's going through it pretty quick, and like
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do because the second game, like I said, like Ellie's older. Like there's certain things that are different. So it's gonna be interesting, like how they do that. Like if they're gonna start shooting that like in a couple months, it's like I don't know.
Which at that point, I think it would be pretty cool to be like a limited time, like not limited time, but like limited series of like 2 seasons, and then they're out. I don't know how the second game ends yet, but
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I'm like, is this getting into Game of Thrones territory where like they're just gonna start winging it after that, and it's gonna suck, or
yeah,
what's gonna
which
happen?
maybe they could pull it off. I just feel like certain shows get to a certain point where it's like, okay, you should have stopped, stop, and they just keep going for money.
Oh, you don't think Walking Dead should be 12 seasons, or
Dude, I've tried so many
12
times
seasons
to
and
rewatch that
and
shit.
2 prequels series. Yeah.
dude, I can't believe it, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
And then
there's
they
people that love that show, but I just like when I found out that it like the writers had nowhere for it to go, like in season 4, I'm like, dude, I'm out.
I stop at season 4 every single time, and then I feel bad because Paige has to deal with it. But like once a year, I'm like, all right, babe, I'm gonna watch it all this time, and then I get to season 4, then I stop.
You're like,
But it's like the
season 4,
5th
dude.
time now.
So Stranger Things is season 4. Are you still in for that, or did you give up on season 4?
I'm still watching it. They do a good job. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing though. I don't know. Like that's cool because it's its own thing, so they don't have to
Yeah.
deviate from like what people's expectations are.
But that's good to know that Eli was saying was negative on it. One reason because like he was super over zombie stuff, and like I'm with you too. Like I feel like when the game came out, it was like prime zombie time, and now it's like 10 years later. But yeah, it's good to see that you like want to actually watch it, Eli. That it seems like you're a
Yeah.
little more into it.
Well, it's just so well done that I think
The Moss guy, I mean, did a great job. So
and we always talk about
Randy
this. It's
Moss?
like if something's done well, then it's watchable, and you should be able to watch stuff if you've never played the game, and it should be a compelling story, and they shouldn't be basing the story off things they assume people already know, which is I feel like a trap that a lot of it's kind of like what Black Adam was to me, where it was like, well, you should already know who the hell Amanda Waller is. It's like, what?
it's
But
like,
with
so
that
we don't have to
said,
try.
I think it's time to move into our next almost breaking news. This broke yesterday, but James Gunn and Peter Safran, but mostly James Gunn, has announced the slate for the upcoming first, what I think they're calling chapters. So chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of watch the video, go through it, give our thoughts in real time. I've watched a little bit of it. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I generally know kind of what he announced. But I think it'd be
Yeah,
fun.
I know some of it, but I haven't seen all the announcements, so I'll be able to. This will be interesting for me.
Yeah, it'd be fun to watch and kind of give our thoughts. So maybe as we're kind of going, we can kind of, if we have something on our mind or something we think about it, we can kind of stop it and give our input. But
I like that James Gunn is rocking the pure. It's not the salt and pepper look; it's the just pure salt.
pure iodinized salt, dude. I'm gonna use that joke again, even
that's
though I used it twice now.
But that's kind of like, I mean, he is being a little bit salty throughout all this, so that kind of works on that.
And that's also like in James Gunn's mind, I can imagine that's what he thinks a good CEO would look like,
All right,
Cool.
so I have the video all set up, guys. Just a reminder, you're more than welcome to pause it at any time if you have something to say, or I can too, but we'll be good to go. Are you guys ready?
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. of
Thanks,
course.
Vince.
All right, here we go. Paige, help me out.
What do you got? What do you got, James?
All right, come on, Pepper boy. Or no, shit, Salt boy.
You salty boy.
You salted.
The co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of...
Oh, so right off the bat, dude. Okay, he's
there's some
actually
shade.
making some... There's some shade, and he's making some definitive choices for better or worse. He's saying,
Can I love
better shit.
The legacy of the Snyder universe is, as you all know, the DC universe in film has been disjointed for years. Like that's the opening line.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So I guess
mainstream
he's
DCU
like
content.
so basically he's like, "Hey, WB, you guys should have like a meeting before you make decisions that affect billions of dollars. You guys should talk about it for a second."
You know those conference tables that you have up there at Warner Brothers? Well, we could all sit around one on a daily basis. We could have like a big whiteboard, and we could use dry erase markers and write stuff down and connect dots. You guys...
And then be like, "Oh, look, guys, let's do this," and then just stick with it for more than 2 years. That would be great.
And Warner Brothers is like, "Yeah, but what about the toys?" And he's like, "Well, hold on, we'll get to the toys, okay? But first, we need the story and the idea and the characters to mesh with everything." All right, that's my rant.
Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a
That statement about Shazam didn't really make sense to me. Because it doesn't, he's kind of like not saying like, yeah, Shazam is going to be like in a part of this universe as well. He's saying like, oh, Shazam's off in his other corner, which plays really well with the DC universe. It's like, what?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
So it doesn't?
So he's not gonna be a part of it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he fits in really well. Okay, so he is. No, I'm not saying that.
Basically,
it's just like his. It's like
he's
this
arguing
weird...
with himself.
Yeah.
Well, no one said anything, James. We're all just listening
for
to you.
sure. All right, sorry.
So he's basically banking on the Flash being like at the the Iron Man of the new
Yeah, or
DCU.
they're recutting Flash to completely erase the Snyderverse stuff, and
Well,
that's
Blue Beetle is going to be at the forefront of everything. And
he's all, yeah,
nothing else
Blue
matters.
Beetle. You know, he doesn't have anything to do with any of the stuff we've set up, but he fits in really well. He's off in his corner. All right, sorry.
Marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority.
Did he say True Detective? Is that what he compared that series to?
So it's just like True Detective. It's just like True Detectives.
It's exactly like True Detective. In fact, we call it True Detective Lanterns, but we don't have the rights to it. Okay, so already this is
it's just like Mysteries Unsolved.
You guys remember that? No? Okay. Dude, this is the thing that kind of bothers me about the whole DCU thing is that why are they doing Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan? I agree, do Jon Stewart, but don't you kind of have to do Hal Jordan first to get to Jon Stewart? It's like that's what I don't like always is like DC doesn't seem like they take their time to build up a story. They just throw characters in, and I imagine there's probably a good reason for that maybe here, but I don't know. It just always seems like they do that. Like they don't start with just the origins.
Yeah. I'm not a big Green Lantern guy, but I get what you're saying. I mean, it's like sort of like it's almost like jumping into Miles Morales before Peter Parker is established, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I get
that.
I
don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna start this one.
Over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. And so,
okay, so it's very clear that we're going to watch James Gunn's playlist of all the stuff he wants. Why are you doing Damian Wayne? You're establishing a new Batman universe, and you're doing Damian Wayne first. How do you do Damian Wayne without Ra's al Ghul, dude? How do you do any of that story?
They really gave James Gunn the keys to the castle and were like, do whatever, man. Which I assumed that would be the case, but
wow. And does that mean if they're doing Damian Wayne that they're just not gonna do Dick Grayson at all? Like, is that, or are they gonna do the
I don't know.
Time is 20 years have gone by. Dick Grayson's now Nightwing.
Dude, we've really never had Robin.
No, I know, dude.
Ever.
I know.
I mean, I guess since like the late 90s, I guess. But like,
And
that's
we've
pretty
never gotten a
crazy.
kid Robin. Like we've never gotten a Robin like it was
Yeah.
really portrayed in the comic books. We've gotten a 46-year-old Robin, you know, like in Chris O'Donnell.
Who is really whiny.
Yeah, right. That's kind of a bummer. I'm kind of bummed about that, but we'll see.
This
Dude,
is the
this is gonna
story
be
of the two of
interesting, man.
them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the
That'll be cool.
superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max
that's pretty
series.
cool.
One of my favorite
HBO
comic book
Max.
series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is
Why is this video so heavily edited?
It's pretty edited, yeah.
Did he just like go on a rant for 20 minutes and they're like, no, there's no way people are going to sit through this?
Yeah, maybe.
It's weird.
Dude, it is crazy. Like that
Always
they're just
king.
laying
That's
this all
all that
out in a
matters.
6-minute video. Like I've never seen
Yeah.
anyone really do this.
Yeah, they're getting the jump on it for sure. Like normally this would like people would wait
They're
till
just like,
Comic-Con to do
here's what
this.
everything's about. Like instead of just like giving us a little like taste of like here's the title, they're like, no, here's everything what it's about.
Right.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but like it seems like it's definitely strange.
Yeah, I mean he seems excited about it.
to us. And I want to be true to
all-
those stories. I
They're all
want to
gonna
be
die
true
in the
to you
first 50
guys
minutes,
and
just
really
like-
give you something different than
like
you've ever
Suicide
seen
Squad.
before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys.
So don't
on
try to
this giant
cancel me
adventure.
again because it's
Thank you
not
so
going to
much.
work.
He's all, and also the last thing I want to say is screw Henry Cavill. Go screw yourself. Thanks for coming. I got the keys now. So just respect me. Man, wow. So a
Dude,
lot of
that's
information
interesting,
there.
dude. Yeah. So that takes us through what 2023, 4? What?
2033, yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like the first thing that they're
Wait,
really
2033?
Yeah, he said the next 8 to 10 years.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I know.
What?
Which is like, why are you wasting time on that cartoon nobody knows about? Dude, did you I kind of
I feel like you should relax a bit. That's crazy. How do you lay out that many things, dude? Like so many things change. Like
you're the exec at Warner Brothers and you have to tell James Gunn to relax a bit after he comes in hot and he's like, look, I have the ideas. And they're like, great, we want to hear it. And then he just is like, I want to do Damian Wayne first and foremost. Like, look, you need to calm down a little
yeah,
bit.
those are some hot takes, so to speak, dude. I don't know. Like I think it's great. Like DC has never had like an actual person to organize everything like this. Like obviously Snyder was not the guy.
Yeah.
So like I think it's great that they like have that now. Like maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna work out. Like it's crazy. Like for me with James Gunn, like I really love some of the things he's done. Like Guardians is at the top for me. I also really don't like a lot of things that he's done. And so I'm kind of like, what are we going to get out of this? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm in the same place, man. It's like DC has been so up and down, mostly down for I guess my entire life. But, you know, there's stuff that they've done that's really good on the animation side that makes you just go, And I've been saying it to you every time we talk about it. It's like, why not hire the people involved in the animated series that wrote some of the best, some of the best Batman stuff ever and contributed brand new stuff to the Bat universe. So
Yeah.
the other thing that like, I don't think I'm on the side of making Batman movies anymore. I think you should, like, especially HBO, should put the money that they're going to put towards the movie and do a Last of Us 10 episode series where it's like you focus on Batman and its multiple villains and it's
Yeah.
almost like a detective story of the week. Like you have the ability to do that and throw movie money at it to make it the most epic Batman thing ever. I just don't like I don't care about most of these characters. I'll go see them because it's interesting. I think Booster Gold sounds really cool. That one movie just sounds like the Eternals. Like that's going to be the DC's the Eternal movie where it's like they're protectors of the world and they're going to do it their own way. So there's that, but
Yeah, it's interesting, dude. It,
Supergirl sounded kind of interesting. I don't know much about
yeah,
Supergirl. I
that
didn't
sounded
read the
like a cool
comics.
way to do it. I don't
Yeah.
know, like we'll see if like but I think you're right. I mean, it's tough to not build upon your biggest names first. Which like it seems like a lot is going to be riding on that Superman movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
where's
I
Wonder
can't. It's
Woman?
hard for me to imagine a James Gunn Superman movie, dude.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
have you seen Brightburn? It's kind of like the dark
Yeah,
Superman story, and he wrote that. I mean, I think that's obviously it's going to be way different, but I don't know. Superman is another movie that like
it
they haven't
seems
been able
very
to
like not
crack.
James Gunn, and yeah, I mean, I despise the Snyder Superman, so
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like,
I'm surprised there's no Wonder Woman. I know they're doing this series
yeah,
on
what's
Paradise Island, but I just feel like man, not doing Wonder
but
Woman's
is
like
Wonder Woman
as a
not
miss.
there? Like, I guess she's not there, right?
I
And
guess,
what
and
are
are
they
they
doing
not?
with Batman? So the new Batman is not a part of it. If that's its own thing. So what's going to be Batman? Who's going to be Batman? What's Batman going to be like? What's going to be the tone?
Yeah. Well, and like you're doing the Damian Wayne storyline, like there's a lot of backstory to that. So how much of that backstory you're gonna tell? Where are you gonna start that story? Are you gonna start at the beginning, or are you gonna start it, in the middle, where Bruce Wayne is raising this kid, that's the grandson of Ra's al Ghul, and
Yeah.
there's all this lore to it, but then there's all this like baggage and stuff with
How are
Dick
you going to set
Grayson,
that
and
up?
I don't know. So that frightens me a little bit.
So it's
Superman
basically like you're
is
going to do Batman without doing Batman, basically.
I mean, it's kind of what it seems like, and it's weird that they titled it "The Brave and the Bold." So I think what that indicates is you're going to get a lot brighter of a Batman. So I don't know. I don't know. That's going to be interesting. I'm still interested to see what they do with it, but it just feels like I don't. I just it feels like they don't. Feels like Batman should be the easiest of them to do. And every time we get Batman, it's some even the Nolan movies. There's some bright spots of that trilogy, but it's just like on the whole, it just I don't know. It's not really Batman, so to
I'm
speak.
with you though. Like Batman and Spider-Man both have like the best rogues galleries, like
Yeah.
by far. So like I could see it like your idea of like a Batman series. When you first think of it, you're like, oh, Batman's too big to do a series. Like they always like want to do films, but like that would be so awesome to not be like tied down by like doing, you have a trilogy of films that's like 3 or 4 villains, like, you know, as
Yeah,
opposed to like
and
you could build a whole universe with like 14 villains, like all could do all kinds of stuff. You could do
and
crazy
you could
stuff with Robin, you could do
change up the writers, you could change up the directors of each episode so you're getting a
yeah.
different kind of vibe on what Batman is rather than just being locked into I don't know, having to fill in the gaps of story that's not told. I just hate that about Batman especially because Batman's such a cool character and there's so much cool stuff you can do with Batman. Like you said, the Rogues Gallery is him and Spider-Man
Yeah, for
are
me it's
the
like
top.
I still have to go back to like Batman the animated series to be like
I agree.
that's the best Batman
I
like to
100%
me
agree.
and the closest to what Batman actually is and like, you know, it's like
Batman
how much time has to pass before we get something like that again? Like,
and it's all in like the relationship of Batman to the city, to the Rogues Gallery, his relationship to Robin. There's all this baggage that he has to work out through being Batman. And the thing that the animated series did so well is it portrayed, you know, Batman as the person and Bruce Wayne is kind of this, facade that Bruce Wayne just wanted to be Batman all the time, but he had to go do this facade of this playboy Bruce Wayne aloof, kind of a a mimbo of a person and play that role, play that playboy role up. And that's the dichotomy you have to have with Bruce Wayne and Batman, because it makes it so much fun to so fun to watch. But I don't know, I really enjoy the Green Lantern, so I'm also excited to see if they can pull something out of that.
They got lot to live up to from the first Green Lantern film that was a masterpiece. So I don't know if they're gonna. We'll see, dude. If they
with
can
the
come close to that,
the poison
Ryan
cloud,
Reynolds.
the poison cloud,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
It is funny because like you have the new Shazam and Blue Beetle coming out this year, so it did kind of seem like in there he's like, yeah, they're already in development, basically done. So, but yeah, they'll be great. Anyway, the ones I wanted to do are after that.
It's just so non-committal, because it's like you're not saying like, yeah, we're taking Shazam and we're taking Aquaman and they're coming in this universe with us. They're like, yeah, they're existing and then they're over there, but they work really well over here, but they're going to be over there.
They've made money, so we have to keep making them.
Jason Momoa's a smoke show. Okay, we're going to keep that ball rolling. It's just going to be over there, but they're going to be looking over here, and then we're going to be looking from here out there.
Okay,
and then that's how you know. It's like, what? Did you just sell me a car?
Yes. So of the original, so out of let's call it Zack Snyder's Justice League, who's coming back? So is it just Jason Momoa? Like, what's happening? Like,
and Ezra Miller, which has its own.
Dude, why out of everybody you're gonna bring back Ezra Miller, dude? Who's been
That's what I think, because the rumor is that Jason Momoa is gonna play Lobo, which makes a ton of sense. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to use the Flash movie to end that whole Snyderverse. I think that's why they didn't announce Flash. I think that's why they didn't announce Aquaman. I think they're going to I think this is going to be overall a much brighter universe.
So it's really going to be like the way the comics reset it.
I think so.
Using the Flash. So it's going to be like, so it's basically like they're ending Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller too.
Yeah.
Using that, they're just not saying that yet, because that's what's going to do. It's going to be back to like a new universe.
Well, I don't know that was the intention when they made the Flash movie, because you're right. It's basically following like Flash.
There's no way, because that would again be assuming that they had a meeting before they.
So that tells me that they probably are now going to use it. That there's probably reshoots and stuff that they did, because I know that they cut out. I think Ben Affleck. If they do Flashpoint Paradox, it could be really cool, because that whole storyline is like
It stands
Thomas
on
Wayne
its
as
own.
Batman. Yeah. So they could do it that way and have it reboot the whole thing. But I don't know. That's some pretty heavy lifting.
I guess Henry Cavill's not in it.
No. They've been open about like Henry Cavill's not going to be in this anymore. So
dude, because
just get over it.
I saw a quote where he's all, we didn't fire him. We just didn't hire him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's
so
all
funny.
like non-committal mealy mouth stuff. Something else that's kind of going around the web that I thought would be interesting to talk about on the flip side of DC, Marvel and MCU, there's strong rumors that Ryan Gosling is in talks to play a character in the MCU. But the interesting part is there are 3 projects that he's rumored to be cast for. And I thought it would be, fun to pontificate on who he might be playing.
We don't know. We just know he's been in talks for a major role, right? Is that kind of the only thing we know?
Yeah, and the the rumors now are Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, and Thunderbolts. So the Ghost Rider thing's kind of been around for a while, but Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, it seems to be pretty evenly split online on what people think that he's going to be cast for. I think it's going to be Fantastic Four. I think my theory is I think he's going to be Doctor Doom. I'm going with that. I think personally, I think he's going to play Doctor Doom. I think that's the role that has the gravitas that requires a A-list actor like Ryan Gosling. I think it's safe to say that he's an A-lister. What do you think?
Yeah. How funny would it be to go from Ken straight to Doom, dude?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Latveria.
Dude, I mean, we've been talking about Doom fan casts for like how many years, dude? Like 15 years. So, yeah, I mean, that would be pretty awesome. I mean, you wouldn't, I'm not seeing very many rumors about Doom at all. Like, no one's really talking about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of exactly that reason that it would be kind of awesome. Because, it kind of plays against type. Like, you expect Ryan Gosling to either be like, a handsome, suave character, which is not Doom, dude.
Right.
which is pretty like makes it kind of awesome and might entice somebody like him to like want to do it. Obviously, the first thing I thought was Mole Man. I was really
Of course.
Mole Man is obviously the most important villain in the Fantastic Four Rogues Gallery.
There's a
So,
part of me that wishes that, it's like something like Annihilus, something kind of outside of like the scope
actually,
of what you think.
that's possible because there
It
are
is.
rumors about that too. Like when they might have switched plans since then when they were trying to act like everything was going to be more cosmic. But like I know Annihilus was getting thrown around. That would be, bro. Let's make Ryan Gosling a giant bug man.
Dude, I'm be so stoked on that. The other rumor is that Thunderbolts, the antagonist, is going to be Sentry. And the rumor is that he could be playing Sentry. I don't see that as much. I think that's too on the nose. I think they're only saying that because he's blonde.
I'm okay in this talk. Like, let me just say too that like, I'm wondering what Thunderbolt story we're really gonna get because I like personally like the comics that I mostly were into were back in like the early 2005 4ish like with like the run of like Young Avengers and everything like that when the Avengers were disassembled, and one of the coolest arcs that came out in like 2008 or so was the Dark Avengers, and like that's when where the Sentry like really came in. Like he got put back in from like the Marvel obscurity as like a character, and it seems like they're following that
Yeah.
because Sentry was brought in as like a young Avenger who basically was kind of like had similar powers to Superman, where he was like uber popular, or I mean uber powerful. It seems like they're doing that. So I'm kind of like, how much of that is going to be in there? Like that's what I was rooting for, because you also had like Norman Osborn like at the heart of it, and he kind of like tricks everybody in the whole world into thinking that like he was the hero that saved everybody, and so everybody moves on from the Avengers, and the Avengers are no more anymore. So he's like, he makes his own Avengers, and it's the Dark Avengers. And they're basically like it's hilarious because he becomes the Iron Patriot and pretends to be like the most like patriotic, like amazing. And he has all these like terrible people and villains that are all like dressed up to be like the new Spider-Man is Venom. And it's like the new this person. So I was really hoping they would do that. But then, when they're calling it Thunderbolts, it's like they're going more into that stage of things. Which like I'm definitely less familiar with Thunderbolts, but I don't know. The Sentry makes me think like, well, maybe they are doing like a Dark Reign, more of the Dark Reign storyline.
Yeah, I mean that would be super interesting. I don't see Gosling playing the Sentry. It would be a very Marvel move if they went and got Henry Cavill to play that role. I think that would be pretty hilarious.
Dude, that would be amazing.
It would be
giant troll to DC, dude.
Giant troll, but also an opportunity to let him do stuff, because he's not a bad actor. He wasn't a bad Superman. He was in a weird Superman movie and universe, but it would be awesome to see him, for the troll aspect for sure, but also just to see him kind of flex his muscles a little bit and play up that character and let him run with it. That's my
cool, man.
I would love to see that. I think that'd be really cool. The other thing is, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, of course, the other rumor is like Johnny Storm. That's obviously like the most obvious thing that like, comes to mind. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't know how young these actors are gonna be. Like I don't know. I would kind of almost prefer like them to be a bit older and to like have Reed and Sue like have their family and everything like that. But
I agree. I think that's the only way you can do it. Like it's such a different movie. Those are such different characters in the style of, Reed Richards is such a complex character that you need an actor that can kind of pull that off.
I don't need to see like a 22-year-old Reed Richards.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're gonna see him for the next 30 years grow up. It's like I really don't need that.
Yeah.
Like
that's Spider-Man.
That's Spider-Man. That's fine. Like we don't need that. Like
right. So I mean, the other rumor is that, and I think he indicated at some point that he wanted to play Ghost Rider. But Vince, if you could throw that picture, we did find fan art of Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider, and I wasn't sold until I saw it. It's pretty dope. That's Ryan Gosling as Sentry.
It
some
looks
fan
pretty
art.
awesome as Sentry. I mean, anytime you can be
That's
cast
true.
as somebody with glowing eyes, that's pretty
Yeah,
great.
sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously, whatever they're gonna do with Ryan Gosling, they must have big plans for it, if that's even the
I
case.
mean,
But
dude, if you ask me, it's like it's pretty crazy that we haven't had like seen what's gonna happen with mutants yet, dude.
I know.
And like that's fine, dude. Take your time, make it amazing, like as long as it takes. But I'm almost like series like have such a like great possibility of being amazing. Like, I mean, I'm even like do X-Men as a series, dude. Like take your
Yeah,
time with it. Like, I mean, how cool would that be to like have like really just like slow burn, go through everything, like,
for sure.
instead of being like Wolverine and Friends, that would just be so much more interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, it almost seems like the Kang Dynasty storyline is an albatross around Marvel's neck now. It almost seems like they now remind me, was Kang the Conqueror? Did Fox? Did they get the rights to him when they bought Fox, or was that a
I think so. I think they had him.
with
So
Fantastic Four?
yeah, I think so. I think King they had, and Galactus for sure they had. Obviously Doom. So a lot of big time villains were not accessible. So I mean, it definitely worked out really well for that. But yeah, Kang is definitely something in theory that could be cool, but something that I'm not quite that excited about.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, like I didn't like Loki very much, so that's not exactly getting things off on the right foot.
yeah.
But we'll see, man. I mean, I am like more excited about Quantumania now. We'll see what they do with it because
I'm excited about Quantumania. The thing I always come back to with that movie that I can't let myself get too excited is because it feels like Quantumania should have been the last movie. Like it feels like
yeah.
it should have been Ant-Man and Wasp. And I don't know, it just makes like the whole Ant-Man and Wasp. And I need to revisit that movie because it's been a long time since I watched it. The first one too.
I
So
mean, I
maybe
think
that's something.
yeah, it's like we're expecting it to be more of in the quantum realm is what it seemed like it was going to be. Like structurally, it was almost like, okay, the first act is like them getting into the quantum realm, and then we're in the quantum realm after that, and they're like
Yeah.
searching for something, and instead we got like a pseudo like heist movie where they're trying to get like the pieces to build the thing to then get to the quantum realm.
Right.
But I think the weirdest thing about it is like it's been so long since then. I mean, like we had Infinity War and Endgame after that. Like
Yeah.
I don't
True.
know. It almost seems like to not be a thing. Like they rescued Janet, but it's like we barely even know who Janet is, and that was like so
Exactly.
long ago. It's like we don't know anything about what happened, and she seemed just like fine and unfazed. Like after coming out of the quantum realm, they're just like, oh great, we're family again. It's like,
Yeah,
wait,
exactly.
what? You've been gone for like freaking decades,
It
and
was
like
like
basically we're like living in a post-apocalyptic miniature like society. Like what?
it reminded me a lot of like the end of or Halloween Ends, where it's like they build Laurie Strode up to be this badass and her daughter gets killed. Spoilers, her daughter gets killed, and there's all this terrible stuff that happens in Haddonfield, and they stick her in a hospital for half the movie. And then the third one starts, and she's just like, "Can I make you pancakes?" I'm just like, "What?" Like that
Yeah.
was so jarring.
They're
But
like,
anyway,
well, she gave up on everything and she's
yeah,
just pretending like it didn't happen.
I think we covered all the recent events. We had some hiccups that hopefully we can overcome in post. But
Fix in
yeah,
post.
overall, I think we continue to get things ironed out. I wanted to also note that all of the episodes of Chance and Penner Live will be up on our podcast feed, also called Chance and Penner Live, by the end of this week. So go check them out. Go check out our
Now you can listen to us while you fall asleep, like an ASMR. We can help you. We can be talking about nerdy stuff while you sleep, and
Yeah.
it's available.
and tell your friends to do the same, because that would be great if you fell asleep and just listened to our stuff and it just ran all night. That would be
we
awesome.
can just talk like this instead the whole time.
What is James Gunn doing? He's screwing everything up. The Bat Family. Yeah. I think we have a new
What's about Quantumania? How about that?
what's the deal with Janet Van Dyne? All right. I think that'll do it, boys, for this show.
If you're still here after this 6-hour episode, thank you so much.
yeah, and let
Really
us know.
appreciate it, guys.
Send us an email. We'll send you. We won't send you anything probably, but
Send us hate mail, because that way that we at least know that there's a couple people listening, and you'll motivate us to just keep going with our lives. And
Actually, guys, our email's down.
Oh no! All of Gmail
Vince's
is
mouse
down?
stopped working, so it's all down.
I broke it.
All right, boys. Well, remember that hate emails and hate messages are still engagement. So
Any press is good press, baby.
Any press is good press, baby. All right. Well, thanks, producer Vince. Hope you can get your computer to stop smoking. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Also, maybe get a new motherboard. That was the only computer reference I could pull. But yeah, thanks, Dave. This is fun, and we'll be back next week. Maybe we can start, prepping for Quantumanium by revisiting Ant-Man and Ant-Man the Wasp. It's kind of, it's 4 hours, but
yeah,
it'd be nice to revisit.
All
right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Check us out on all major podcast platforms,
but especially Pandora.
Skipping through the end times.